Opening face-off, the Haudenosaunee and Team Australia. Jeremy Thompson for the Haudenosaunee and Tim Graham, who played at Cornell for Team Australia. And the Sharks win the opening face-off. They will go to work right to left in green. Bronze medal on the line. International rules means no shot clock. Australia, their losses so far have come to the Haudenosaunee in pool play. They lost to the United States in one of the semifinals and also lost to Team Canada in pool play. Balanced scoring attack. This is Matt Wood on there on that first midfield with Braden Panting and Matt Houston, who plays for Charlie Toomey at Loyola. This is Lockie Walker, team captain, 6 goals in this tournament, marked by Zed Williams. Playing with a wooden stick, 36 in white's got a wooden stick.
Yeah, most of the games this tournament, Anish, he starts with the wooden stick and he will replace that with his traditional aluminum and plastic head. But this is something that Zed has really embraced in this World Championship, starting with the stick that's so significant to the Haudenosaunee.
Good defense there by Kyle Jackson to force the tournament. Lars Tiffany, you always see him with the wooden stick, the last gift from his late father a few years ago. He's been carrying that around since late in the 2019 season. There it is before the game, talking with Chris Cotter, who will be down on the sidelines for us.
Handmade out of hickory with guts from a deer or another animal. It's a work of art, symbolic of the woods and nature.
Made by the late Alfie Jacques, the legendary stick maker from Onondaga Nation, who passed away earlier this month. Here's Austin Stotts, flag down. Stotts, 27 goals in this tournament, most of anyone. He loves the contact, feeding inside to Bombury, and now we get the penalty on Australia and a man-up opportunity for the Haudenosaunee.
You'll see Lyle up top in the 3-3, 3 across up top, 3 down low, and Austin Stotts is a significant shooter from that low left pipe area. 27 goals in the tournament.
Here is Lyle Thompson, the hesitation. Wing feed to Randy Stotts, skips it to Bombury. There's Austin Stotts. Thompson probing, Stotts with a lefty shot. Save made by Sean Aaron. What a story the starting netminder is for Australia. He was on the 2018 team, originally from Great Falls, Virginia, outside of the DC area. Played at Union College, played in the MLL with the Charlotte Hounds. Took a trip down to Australia, did a little bit of coaching, met a girl, stayed in Australia, and Quint talking to him before the game. He now has a very distinct Australian twang. He said the American accent comes out sometimes after a couple of Fosters, but he said, yeah, I'm adopting the Australian accent, although his teammates say he's got some work to do.
Got a job in talent management. He's been down there almost a decade now. 2 kids, Seamus and Patty, his wife Mia. This guy played at Union College for the legend Paul Wareham.
And you talked to Glenn Meredith before the game too. He said Aaron's one of the reasons why this defense has been so strong. His saving ability has allowed them to take chances and risks and press a little bit.
Great outlets, and what Sean told me today is this tournament, for these Aussies, it's the excitement of playing against pros.
Thomas Graham gets the Sharks on the board first. His 5th goal of these World Championships.
This is a beauty by another player who was in Netanya with the Sharks. Thomas Graham, watching him pre-game on the field. He's got a really nice release. You see here, it's a jab with the left, and it opens up his right hand down the alley, the ability to shoot with pressure. We talk about some of these players and the impact the sport of lacrosse has had on them. Thomas Graham was in Israel. He met his wife there, who was from Norway. About a year later, he decides to move to Norway, He speaks fluent Norwegian right now. He's an engineer there. I spoke to him before the game, and we're talking about a player that finds the game of lacrosse, and he finds the love of his life through the game. It's awesome.
He's been doing it for a long time. He was on a U19 team for the Sharks back in 2012, and he's twice represented.
Kark, that sounds like a movie, Lacrosse and Love.
Yes.
Love and Lacrosse. Here is Randy Stotts, brother of Austin Stotts, checked by Lachlan Russell. It spins back to Lyle Thompson. Born white, one of the best in the world, a two-time Tewaaraton winner at Albany. #1 pick in 2 pro leagues. Here's Jacob Patterson. Now Lyle wheeling down the alley. We get another flag on the Aussies. Good look here, Eli McLaughlin. It skirts wide, and another man-up opportunity for the Haudenosaunee.
Austin Stotts does a wonderful job off ball of any time there's any kind of contact, however minimal it may be, whether it be a rub, a pick, a defender trying to hold him. He'll dive, he'll fall. And these officials here, these international officials in San Diego, it's been a buyer's market.
Crease feed, Stotts to Hogarth. It got away, it's loose, and the Aussies pick it up. For the Haudenosaunee, Kark, yesterday a much-needed day off after playing 7 games in 7 days, and Lars Tiffany said the plan yesterday, do nothing, relax, refresh, get healthy, clean up some of those nicks and bruises.
Yeah, smartest decision he's made, because this is a team that has a ton of top-end talent, some of the best players in the world. It's the depth, and when you play 7 straight, to not have a second midfield at the level maybe of their first, it really, really puts a lot of pressure on you in terms of just having your best performances day in and day out.
This event is extremely taxing. 30 teams here in San Diego, obviously the weather, but the format, 23-man rosters, playing back-to-back-to-back days. You better show up here in world-class condition.
And the coaches admitted this was a team that in the semifinals, when they lost to Canada, it was a tired team. We did the game. You could see it, especially late. Here is Matt Houston. He'll come back next year at Loyola as a graduate student. Scored 6 goals in 5 games for the Greyhounds. His season shortened by a broken arm. Dad Tim is Australian by birth, rugby player in Australia before moving to the U.S. We will step aside. Sleepy first quarter so far, 7.5 to go. Only 1 tally so far. Thomas Graham. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, oi, oi.
Was he in Under Armour?
Looking at the kayakers off La Jolla Cove, it's the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast, ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Our score so far in this bronze medal game between Australia and the Haudenosaunee, 1-0 Australia on a Thomas Graham goal. His 5th of these World Championships. There is the real Glenn Meredith. And for Australia, they have medaled 10 times in these World Championships. Silver in 67, 82, and 94. A bronze in 78, 86, 90, 98, 02, 06, and 2010. The last 2 bronze medals were claimed by the Haudenosaunee, 2014 Denver, 2018 Netanya, Israel.
The Sharks started playing lacrosse in 1876. Most of these players come from the western half of Australia, Melbourne, Perth, Adelaide.
Melbourne's on the east side. Southeast.
I've only been to Sydney.
East Coast.
Yeah, you should start reading geography books. I know you're well deep into all these other pieces of literature. Get a map.
Here's Houston.
In a Sunburned Country by Bill Bryson. Read it. Great book.
Here comes Panting. Nice dodge. Shoots it too high. The backup by Cal Gibson. Talking to Cal Gibson earlier, he played Division II college ball at Coker University in Hartsville, South Carolina. Sneaks top side. Save is made by Warren Hill in the crease.
Stop there by Hill.
Great job by Warren Hill.
Yeah.
He's been so good this tournament. Syracuse class of 2016. Lefty out of 6 nations.
88 and white, who's got the ball now for the Haudenosaunee. Jacob Piscino has been a star. He's been one of the top 3 or 4 defenders in this entire tournament. He is coming back to play for Scott Marr at Albany next spring, and he will be on a lot of preseason first, second team All-America lists.
I agree. I think he should also be an all-world defender in this tournament. When you watch his significant impact in transition, he's got a array of takeaway checks as well, 88 and white. He told me that he was inspired by Jack Rowlett at a camp years ago to try to take the ball away and be a risk taker on the defensive end.
How about that? Lyle had the short stick and then stumbled just moments before the slide got there. Uncharacteristic turnover by Lyle Thompson, and the Aussies have been on attack most of this first quarter, 5.5 to go.
When you look at Piscino or a guy like Austin Stats, it's important not to judge a book by its cover. As Oren Lyons, the great Oren Lyons, said, don't judge a lacrosse player by how he looks. You just never know. Piscino goes about, what, 5'8"?
Yeah.
With that huge Abe Lincoln beard.
But he's strong. He's built like a fire hydrant.
He's built a lot like Gavin Adler.
Yeah,
I was going to say, who was the #1 pick in the PLL draft? Mitchell Baker, 12 in green, gives it up. That's Lockie Walker, 6 goals in the tournament. Now Matt Foose, he is Australia's fastest player as it comes to Matt Wood.
A lot of off-ball movement here in East. They love to zig and zag away from the ball, and they hope to impact the structure of this defense with that movement.
Yeah, I like their patterns. They never sit still, the Aussies.
Gibson over to Baker from Melbourne. Played a graduate season for Brian Brecht at Rutgers this spring.
It can become dizzying and tiresome to chase these green jerseys around for some of these long possessions.
Walker up top to the wing, and Gibson, again, no shot clock, so you can be patient. Here comes Baker. Guarded by Jackson. Now Foose. Holds up and back behind the cage. Gibson fires it offline. Cal Gibson just outside of Melbourne telling me that when he came to Coker University in Hartsville, as we get a stall warning, that means Australia's got to keep it in the attack box. So the biggest change he noticed, stateside, as Walker shoots and it's saved by Hill. Quint, he said stateside, crease violation here, interference. Stateside, he said it was amazing to see all the players play lacrosse every day. He said in Australia, that's not common. You don't get to play every day.
Yeah, the standard is different around this globe. I mean, in the U.S., there's a lot of practices and few games. In Canada, they play a lot of games, and it's indoor lacrosse. In England and Japan, players don't typically pick up a stick until they're in college. In other areas, in Australia, you've got club-based lacrosse where players usually pick it up at maybe 16, 17, or 18 years old.
Yeah, and there's different volume in terms of how much they train as well. Kyle Jackson takes that shot. Yesterday, I spent some time with the Wales team, and I went over to the dormitories where they're staying, and they told me the Japanese team is in the same living facility as they are. They are playing wall ball non-stop. Like, the sticks are in their hands after practice, after games. So the Japanese don't get introduced to the game until late, until the college ages. But when they start playing, they are all in.
Japan yesterday taking 5th place, knocking off England. Thompson absorbs the hit, spins around to the other side, bounces it and scores. Lyle Thompson, that stick is like an extension of his body. There is a lyricism, a mysticism. There's magic to his game.
Like Bruce Lee, Lyle Thompson dodges to the net. Be like water. He takes what you give him. He works off of contact.
Yeah, there's no predictability when it comes to defending and watching Lyle Thompson. You have no clue where he's going because he doesn't know until the last moment. He plays off of pressure as well as any player who's ever played the game, and that late twister. But this is significant too now that Tim Graham's back in action. Tim Graham's around 70% at the face-off dot for the Australians. He did not play in the last game against the U.S., so having his health back to at least a standard where you're winning the first 3 face-offs, this is big for the Aussies.
We get a timeout with 1:47 to go. Graham was on that 2018 team as an 18-year-old, impressed, ends up going to Cornell. As you get a look at Lyle Thompson, one of the best in the world. Standout career at Albany. He has been outstanding as a pro. He has been sublime on the international stage as well.
2 Tuaratons, son of Dolores and Jerome. I think this game today, for me, it may be the last time that he's on the field at the same time with his older brother, Jeremy Thompson, who's been facing off number 74 in white, who is 36. And so you think about these 2 young men who picked up sticks when they're 3 years old, playing in the backyard, and this might be the last time they compete on the same team.
Chris Cotter, what do you got, man?
Hey, you know, we were down here on the field talking to head coach Lars Tiffany before the game, and I thought he brought up an interesting point. Every team here wants to win. Obviously, you play to win the game. Hello, just like Herm Edwards once said. But for the Haudenosaunee, things are a little bit different. They play to win, but they also play to appease the creator. So when we talk about the creator's game, things are different. Style of play, the way they play, how well they play, that goes into it big time as well when they play any type of game, when they get together.
The creator's game. Lacrosse was a game invented by the indigenous people. It was meant to please the creator. It was played as a medicine game to heal. It was a game that was played in peace, played in wartime. Now the roots of this game run deep in North America. And the Haudenosaunee, the modern extension of that. Well, there you get it. Pictures from an artist's rendition of the original game.
And many of these players also were born, and right next to them in their crib was a lacrosse stick.
Yep.
You know, Lyle Thompson, you mentioned that he's with his brother Jeremy, and his other brother too, Haudenosaunee Thompson's on the team. And he's right around the age of Jeremy Thompson. So those 3 playing together, it's such a significant moment. And their father Jerome, who was a legendary player in his own right, played for this Haudenosaunee national team as well.
Now the natives in North America taught the game to the French, who dubbed it Lacrosse, hence the name. Here's Matt Wood. Gets right up to the crease behind X. Wood probing. We come up on a minute to play in this opening quarter, tied at 1. Thomas Graham, the goal for Australia. Lyle Thompson for the Haudenosaunee. Wood holds it. Holds it. Now turns, gets topside and scores.
Patience is a virtue. 30 seconds left. The direction from the Australian bench was probably, let's hold for the last one. The stall warning is called late, but that does not stop the Aussies and Matt Wood for coming around goal line extended, and that is just an understanding of shot clock scenario, banging it.
Liked his matchup against the shorty, but that was pretty good defense, and he shot through pressure and stings it. What a great snipe there on the run.
30 seconds to go. You only get a clock stoppage in the final 30 seconds of the first 3 quarters. It extends to a couple minutes in that 4th quarter. And Australia continues to dominate the X. Graham had it stick checked. Wow! And then Muir took a big hit from Quinteo. It will belong to the Haudenosaunee. 19 seconds to go. Can they get something quickly? And we'll get a timeout from Lars Tiffany. 14 seconds. A chance to set something up here in the waning stages of stanza number 1.
You know, that last goal by Wood, you're thinking, does he hold for the last shot? You could be a little bit more aggressive in scenarios like that when you're winning every faceoff. If you're not winning the faceoffs, like if you don't have Tim Graham, it's a different scenario. We're going to hold for that last shot. You know, maybe about 15 seconds you'll start attacking. Here's the look at this last hit, Quint.
Lucas Quinteo, they call him the unicorn. Sean Aaron, I was talking to him, why is he the unicorn? He goes, he's 1 in a million. Well, known as the team's toughest player, native of Melbourne, shows you what the physical game is.
Turned into the farmer's market you went to this morning.
World class. Little Italy, San Diego Farmers Market from 8 to 2. Still open right now, right?
What'd you get there? Nuts and berries?
I got blueberries, raspberries. I got yogurt. I got fresh raw almonds that I have in my bag to snack on in between the games.
You're in Little Italy. No, like fresh mutts?
They have that, but
yeah,
you know,
okay.
I just
live a little.
Fresh shredded mutts, right?
Anisha's family went there. They'll come back with rave reports. They got everything. This is world-class farmers market. One of the subtle highlights of
but
this
if
trip.
you're going to Little Italy, you walk out of there with some
it's a farmer's market.
So what?
They
It's
don't
Little
sell.
Italy.
No, those restaurants do not have
Mona
tents,
Lisa. I went there the
at
other day.
farmer's market.
You walk into a shop and get it.
This is a farmer's
What
market.
happened
It's a
last
farmer's market. Farmers from Southern California drive here in their trucks and put their goods out.
It's
not.
Italy.
Those restaurant owners are sleeping. They were up late last night washing their kitchens.
In Quint's defense, he probably got lost. Remember last time we were trying to find ice cream? Walked the length of 3-4 blocks about 3 times before coming back to the first spot we saw.
I don't know about that. I showed you the option.
Lyle Thompson feeding to Bomberry, who bangs it in.
That was quick, huh?
Tied at 2.
This is just a misalignment defensively, right, Kark? I mean, that power play is like 3 seconds old, and Bomberry's dead center. This is communication 101.
Yeah, Bomberry's shooting 50%. Would have liked to see a little bit more of him in the action against Canada the other day because he is that type of a goal scorer. But that's just Lyle being smart and being Lyle, right? A lot of times in that kind of a situation, you might wait and see, but there's no opportunity to wait and see there. The opportunity is Bomberry wide open on the crease.
I know, and so often, Anish, that coached, hey, let's get it around once.
No.
Why are we getting it around
Why?
once? Why? The guy's wide open. Throw him the ball.
Jeremy Thompson punches it ahead. The Australians close on it. Millsap had it, lost it. Chance here for the Haudenosaunee. They throw it away, and quarter number 1 comes to an end. We're tied at 2. Thomas Graham getting the scoring started for the Sharks. Bronze medal on the line. Graham beats his man, beats Warren Hill, and then Lyle Thompson the answer. Matt Wood getting topside after a long stall. Made it 2-1. Bomberry from Lyle, the equalizer to end the first.
and shoots and scores!
The sport of lacrosse is growing exponentially.
Between his legs and scores!
And when you think about what the PLL provides in year 5, it's rocket fuel for the sport. The best players in the world right now are inspiring a new generation.
The PLL is back next weekend. Minneapolis, July 8th, July 9th. Quint will be there. Then Fairfield, Connecticut. Louisville, the site of the All-Star game.
Two-week hiatus, and the action will be intense. I felt the first 3 weeks of the season were kind of a feeling out process. When we come back,
how great were those games? Though?
Next week,
9 of 12 by 1 goal, decided by 1 goal. I mean, the games were unbelievable.
Crazy parity in the league. Like every game's a 1-goal game. But I'm excited now. We turn the corner into July. I think we'll get a better idea who's a championship caliber team this summer.
Concern about how some of the players bounce back after playing a lot of lacrosse these last couple of weeks here in San Diego?
Perhaps. I mean, Matt Rambo told me he's staying here in San Diego for a couple days and then flying directly to Minneapolis. Michael Earhart missed some games here with the hamstring. He's back in the lineup. Tommy Schreiber's health. We expect to see him today against Canada.
You know, the midfielders do a lot less running because of the rules.
The shorties, you worry about the wear and tear, don't you? Like a Danny Logan.
The short stick D middies, but not necessarily the offensive middies. The attackers more of just how beat up their body is from getting hammered.
There's Zach Miller, former Denver Pioneer, now Bomberry, shoots it behind the cage. Randy Stotts has it. Lachlan Russell on him. Randy bodies into Russell. Dumps it, far side, shot saved by Aaron.
It's a rare stop from close range against Austin Stotts,
who was limping at the tail end of the play.
Shooting 57% in this event.
When he shot that, right as he shot, it just looked awkward.
And it's a goal by Connor McDonough, who played the last 3 seasons in Towson, now in the transfer portal. His 5th goal. He is one of the jitterbugs. Glenn Meredith has dubbed his lefties McDonough and Cal Gibson as the jitterbugs.
Yeah, you know what's interesting too, gentlemen, is Australia seems to find their spots. The Wood goal, right, when he hung up the Haudenosaunee defender. And now this goal right here by McDonough. You would think, they want to work the ball around and get into their offense and all those amoeba patterns. No, this is a strong lacrosse IQ understanding by McDonough, seeing that seam.
McDonough's had a nice tournament. He's a Morristown, New Jersey native. His mom, Karen, is Australian. Played high school, a teammate with Shane Knobloch. And he looked good. He'd look good as a Scarlet Knight next year.
His dad, Patrick, played professionally in Australia. Had an uncle who played at Lehigh and in the MLL. Chance here for the Haudenosaunee. That one hits the pipe. Great ball movement. Started with Lyle Thompson. Randy Stotts couldn't finish it. Piscino wins it back. Again, he's been outstanding. Dumps it over to Randy Stotts. Numbers here for the Haudenosaunee. Here comes Lyle. Bounces it past Aaron. And Lyle Thompson has had a hand in all 3 Haudenosaunee goals.
The impacted ground balls. Jake Piscino creates the turnover for the Haudenosaunee, and they are unforgiving in transition. The quickness of this release is notable by Lyle.
Yeah, Piscino has been so disruptive in transition, but when you give Lyle an opportunity like that, you know, a lot of players, you see their hips move and their arms kind of flash across their face. That is pure wrist action right there. And the deception of a goalie, goalies are accustomed to reading a swooping motion of an offensive player. You can't track that shot.
He shot it before the goalie was expecting him to shoot it. Most players, 99% of the players are going to carry down low and try to improve their angle. Boom, but he beat him to the punch.
Kark, when you watch Lyle Thompson, who's got the ball now, you never see him do an awkward thing.
No. He's just always in control. What I love about him so much is how unpredictable he is in his patterns. Like, he dodges from all over the offensive sets.
Drop stick. Here's Thompson behind the back, and Stotts. Randy loading up. Screams it a little too wide and high.
Lyle plays in calligraphy.
He does.
It's just an elegant font. It's a free-flowing. It's very reactionary. Nothing's planned, as you said earlier.
I've said it before. You watch Lyle play lacrosse. It's Mozart at a piano. It's Shakespeare with a quill. Picasso with a paintbrush. Here comes Jackson. Wheels down the alley over to Randy Stotts. Back to Lyle. Millsap shading him. Lyle, that one-handed pass, back to X. Now Jackson on the invert with the short stick. Snakes around the crease, shoots, misses the mark, and the backup to Austin Stotts and the Haudenosaunee.
I think Kyle Jackson's been one of the top maybe 3 to 5 players on this team over the course of the last 10 days. 47 in white, University of Michigan, played for John Paul, plays in the PLL for Andy Towers in the Chaos. He's been all over the field for the Haudenosaunee.
There's Jackson again, shovels to the wing. Austin Stotts with his 28th goal of these World Championships.
We're talking about Kyle Jackson as playing all over the field. Look at this dish, Quint.
He is a jitterbug, a meerkat, shake and bake move, gets top side, double team comes, he flips it back, and oh, boy, you talk about liquid smoke. Stotts, there's just no hesitation there. He shoots this about as hard as he can. That's a crease crank from about 6 yards. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, leading scorer in the tournament, Austin Stotts. Impressed me with that feed, too. The Australian defense was draped all over Jackson.
Jackson, as you said, Park, he's been awesome defensively as well. They've played him as a two-way.
Millsap screams it too high. The backup by Cal Gibson.
How important are face-offs in this format? Well, when you're bumping Lyle Thompson from attack to the wing, it really shows you. I mean, face-offs in this game without a shot clock dictates so much possession time.
Panting waits for his offensive personnel. Here's Houston. Rocky Walker.
Houston is a nice player, 11 in green, downhill righty dodger. Just got to create some versatility in this game, Paul. You know, work on his left.
Piscino with a nice stick check. Big ground ball here, and it's scooped up by Oakley Thomas and the Haudenosaunee.
Good grounder by Oakley.
Thomas
big man
tiptoes the sideline, motors into the restraining area. And a timeout called by Lars Tiffany. It started with Piscino, the caused turnover. Thomas gains possession. The Haudenosaunee cling to a 1-goal lead. last night in the 5th place game, Japan took down England. At the end of the game, marred by an unnecessary cheap shot laid by England's Andrew Baxter. But Japan has been one of the great stories of these 2023 World Championships. Quint, this is a team where the players don't pick up a lacrosse stick until they get to college. And it is a team without any ringers. It's composed entirely of Japanese-born and Japanese natives.
Look at the emotion there, too, winning that game. And so much of the lacrosse world that was watching that game concerned about the hit at the end of that game. Sota Haudenosaunee, from all people that are talking about his health, it looks like he's trending in a good direction, thankfully, because it was a scene that concerned all of us. Late in that game, they're kind of holding the ball. They're not pressing the cage, and the hit by Andrew Baxter, there was a few seconds after Sota passed the ball. He is doing better from all accounts.
And congratulations to the Japan Lacrosse Association. I bumped into Yusuke Sasaki, who was one of the originators of lacrosse in Japan. He watched a game in the mid-'80s on television and reached out to Norio Endo, who was a Hopkins alumnus, and Ross Jones and Bob Scott, the then athletic director at Johns Hopkins. And Coach Scott went over there in 1986. That was the true beginning of Japanese lacrosse.
Clark, you're starting to see the Haudenosaunee get into a rhythm offensively.
Yeah, the ball moves at hyper speed, and you watch Austin Stotts, 83 in white, how strong he is, and the stick skills, that combination. You know, we see a lot of big guys with great stick skills, but he's big, the stick skills, and the physicality. Like, he punishes defenders.
Here comes Jackson, beats his man, fires and scores. Jackson assisted on the go-ahead goal. Now he scores to make it 5-3.
It's a nice-looking possession. Action Jackson, 29 years old. This guy's in elite condition. He's got 2 PLL titles for the Cast. Watch him, left to right, chop, 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 chop. Look at his feet.
Yeah, you rarely see Jackson shoot with his right hand. But this time he uses the feet, as you mentioned, and the timing of the split, too. He's a smart lacrosse player. He's a coach at Avon Old Farms up in Connecticut, and just, he's one of those players just always knows where to be, when to be.
Defenders often will gaze at the feet or the head of the ball carrier instead of the belt. The belt tells the truth. The belt is the litmus test. You start looking at guys' feet, you start looking at their head or the head of their stick, you're going to get roasted.
But when you're as quick as Kyle Jackson or Michael Sowers, you can stare at the belt all you want.
Well,
too.
you got to discipline like corners in football. It's the belt line never lies.
Stare too long, it's gone. Now Jackson left Michigan as the school's all-time leading scorer. Record's since been broken. Pansing's pass misses the mark. Back to the Haudenosaunee, 5:35 to go, first half.
Well, Jackson, like former Michigan coach John Paul, shares in the great success of that program this season.
No doubt.
Yeah, you feel like Notre Dame winning a championship, that's a program win. Everybody owns a part of that. And the same with Michigan making their first NCAA tournament.
Program mile marker. Michigan got to the quarterfinals. Here comes Austin Stotts against Ashby Dennis.
The ball doesn't come out.
No, so thick.
Stotts bullying inside. Dennis trying to stay with him.
Dennis is gigantic, by the way.
Yeah,
we met him. 6'4", 102 kilograms. That's 225. And look at this.
Stotts gets his way. Dennis did a nice job on him.
He did.
In pool play, Stotts was not going to be denied there.
No, and Glenn Meredith told me before the game that he did feel good about Dennis because of pool play, but this is just brute strength, skill, and an understanding. Scott Marr, the offensive coordinator for the Haudenosaunee, said Austin Stotts always knows where the goal is. He's got that sixth sense to feel pressure, to understand where pay dirt is. And Dennis, that is a bear of a player to deal with.
Stotts from Six Nations, OCC Laser, and currently with the Seals here in San Diego of the NLL. The guy was first pick, the first pick in the indoor draft. Tore his ACL that rookie season, but man, he's He could be the MVP of this tournament. I mean, someone in the USA-Canada game will likely get it, but in my eyes, he's been the most
impactful player.
100%.
Yes,
Not even debatable. Not even
29
debatable.
goals, 8 assists, and Clark, you alluded to it. His style is this cold fusion between power and finesse that you just don't see very often.
John Grant Jr.-ish, some things he does.
More physical. Grant may, probably a little bit better of a passer. John Grant's one of the top 5 offensive players all time, maybe. Austin Stotts has the potential to be in a conversation internationally of being one of the greats. But what I feel the difference with Stotts and so many other big players, and you look at a guy like Brendan O'Neill, there's a lot of finesse to his game. He's an unbelievable talent, but Austin Stotts physically beats defenders up.
Australia now trying to get back. They had a 3-2 lead. The Haudenosaunee have scored 4 straight. Here comes Graham. Zed Williams marks him. Now Walker. Denied by Ron John. Wood spins it back. Here comes Mitchell Baker. A Rutgers Scarlet Knight this past season. Good defense there by Kyle Jackson, who again is everywhere.
The Haudenosaunee's success in this tournament, Anish, linked most closely to the improvement of their defense.
No doubt. And that means a guy like Zed, 36 and white, picking up a long pole, even though he's one of the best attackmen in the world.
Completely exceeded my expectations. I mean, to change that position, right, when you've been such a unbelievable talent offensively, and now to play defense, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I had my questions. But after I watched him defend Matt Rambo, I mean.
And you throw in the work of Jacob Pacino, and I think Warren Hill between the pipes. Ron John playing the long stick position. You give him another year with that stick. I think he's a pro-level athlete, just still learning the LSM position after being a two-way midi at Albany.
Well, so many of those players, too, when you switch to a pole, like Brody Merrill at one time was a midfielder, right? Matt Dwan, who was one of the legendary college lacrosse long stick midfielders from Loyola. He was a midfielder and an attacker his whole entire life until he got to basically his senior year of high school. When you have that kind of talent with the stick and then you learn the defensive principles, you add a different dimension to your team.
And it was Zed Williams' idea to pick up a long stick.
He will grow from this, Anish, because it's put him in an uncomfortable spot. And when he comes back for the PLL and the Whip Snakes, teaming up with Matt Rambo for Coach
his PLL
Stagnita,
Whip Snakes teammate.
I think there'll be wrinkles to his game. I think he'll be a better offensive player. Cross training is great. I really recommend it for young athletes. You never want to specialize.
50 seconds to go, first half.
I played midfield during my summers while I was in college.
Stall warning against the Haudenosaunee, which means they've got to keep it in the attack box, which runs sideline to sideline in international play. Here's Lyle Thompson. Spins it to Jackson now. Stotts against Dennis. There's the double. Stotts draws the flag. Stotts gets inside. Another flag.
Continues to amaze me.
12 seconds. He was doubled that time by 2 poles, and it didn't matter.
We've seen him do that before in this tournament when Brody Merrill of Team Canada came down on a double team. How does the ball stay in his pocket? He's got that force going, the rattling and the cradling, and he keeps the stick head constantly in motion. I mean, I would be so tempted if I was coaching against this team to call for a stick check because it's just a miracle the way that ball stays in his pocket. Combination of strength, dexterity, balance, and feel.
12 seconds to go. 6 on 5 for the Haudenosaunee. Lyle Thompson will trigger. Now they can just take this to halftime with possession, and they do. And that means the Haudenosaunee will start the third quarter with the ball, and there will be no face-off. So the Haudenosaunee closed the opening half, Quint, with 4 straight goals. What changed?
I think possessions, their offense started humming. Lyle Thompson looks like he's in top form right now. Kyle Jackson has continued to be a star from the midfield. And then Stotts, what can you say about Austin Stotts, the lefty? He's been an unstoppable force. And nobody's had the matchup, but what's even more amazing is he's drawing penalties, and even when you double him, he's sneaking and weaseling out of it.
Chris Cotter is with Haudenosaunee head coach Lars Tiffany.
All right, thanks, Anish. Coach, goals are hard to come by sometimes in this format, and they were for you guys in the first quarter. What happened in the second to kind of loosen things up offensively?
Certainly excited about what Brooker Muir and Jeremy Thompson are doing at the faceoff bag. So it has not been a strength most of this week, but those two are battling a fantastic faceoff man in Tim Graham and getting those extra possessions. Our defense is playing a little bit better too. We were a little passive. We weren't making contact out far enough, and right now we are making that contact and the slides. And how about Jake Pacino? Over the head checks, the plays he making, getting a transition going. We love to run. You know, this game was meant to be played at a fast pace to make better men, better warriors, better hunters. That's the way we're going to play.
They love to run as well. They want to try and be physical with you, as you saw in pool play. So what do you tell your team defensively, especially here in the second half, to prevent them from coming back?
Sure, we got to get our offensive middies run back in the hole. We'll get you out eventually, and if you get trapped, you get trapped. Just stay stiff with our checks. Let's get all over their bodies and be ready with those slides. Trust Warren Hill, too. He's one of the best goalies out there.
All right, a lot of sun out here. Get that bucket back on, all right? We'll see you in the second half. More halftime still to come from San Diego. Haudenosaunee with the advantage, looking for the gold medal at the end of the day.
Those are Sharks at Snapdragon Stadium. And we remind you, Rady Children's Hospital is the presenting sponsor of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship, Rady, the largest children's hospital on the West Coast and ranked among the 10 best children's hospitals in the nation. Time to get you down to the field. Chris Cotter with a special guest.
Yes, Patrick Oriana is here with us, the Uganda head coach. Pato is in his third World Championship. Tell me about, you come here as a player to Denver in 2014, then in 18 in Netanya. Now you're coaching the team. How has Uganda lacrosse changed in those years since your first World Championship?
It's been an amazing process. Obviously, being here in 2014 and now and 2018 as a player and now as a coach has been almost a roller coaster. But it goes to show proof that guys are actually there trying to grow the game and actually get better at the sport.
How do you build lacrosse in Uganda? You know, most people think of Uganda, they think of 10,000 meter runners, they think of soccer players. Lacrosse must be so foreign to everybody there. How do you introduce the sport and build it from the ground up?
Things have changed a bit. 2011, it was just introduced to guys who were already involved in different sports. I was playing rugby at the time. A couple of guys were playing basketball at the time. But also that was like the older group. Okay, but right now it's different. A couple of players on the team have actually started their own academies and actually coaches. So really we depend on the guys that have had the experience to continue to grow the sport. A big part of that is like the donations we've actually depended on for a very long time, whether it's equipment and mostly sticks. So that has so that has actually been the concept. But also currently we've just introduced the sport into secondary schools and we've just been accepted into the Secondary School Association, and we actually have an exhibition this coming month.
Very nice. When you think about coming to a tournament like this, obviously it's old hat for you, but your players to be able to play with Lyle Thompson and the Haudenosaunee and Team USA and Team Canada, what does it mean to them to be on the same stage as those players and teams?
No, first of all, I think it's humbling, okay? But also one of the conversations we had before we came here is like every team that is at the tournament almost, except the top 8, probably had to fight for a place. So even the teams that maybe could have been better than us actually there. So we're expecting tough competition. So it's definitely humbling. We are lucky that the athletes on different teams are very humble. You've mentioned Lyle and everyone. Laterro Harris visited our tent some time back. Yeah. So which is really good. But I mean, we expected it. We knew we were playing Japan the first game. You know, we knew they were a tough team. So definitely we knew we were definitely going to work for everything. We expected the guys to stay consistent. We kept talking about culture and things like that. And I think the guys represented the country like really good gentlemen.
Uganda, you guys are right there with the spirit of this whole event. So I know you've gotten a lot of new fans here in San Diego, including me. Good seeing you, Pato.
Good to see you too.
All right,
I also just want to thank the guys who have been part of us through the years, FCA, and all the volunteers, but everyone else who has given up their piece of equipment out there, because that is very important.
Yes.
Our program depends on such good people.
Well said. Appreciate you stopping by. More halftime still to come here in San Diego. We're going to talk a little first half, and we'll look forward to the gold medal game between Canada and USA coming up later. 6-3 at halftime. Haudenosaunee doubling up Australia. Chris Cotter down here on the field, along with Paul Carcaterra, who's been nice enough to come down here and enjoy this beautiful sunny day on the field. Slow start offensively for both teams. We've kind of seen that a lot in this tournament, but the Haudenosaunee really kicked it in a high gear in the second.
The Haudenosaunee offense is one of the best in the world, and the playmaking ability of players like Lyle Thompson is completely on display in that first half. Lyle was part of the first 4 goals for the Haudenosaunee. You see his dodging ability, the balance, and the way how slippery he is of finding seams, and this time as a passer to Brendan Bomberry, who's shooting over 50% in this tournament. Lyle with the quick release too. They just hit you in so many different ways. I thought Kyle Jackson's play in the first half was very underrated. There's a passer there to Audie Stotts, now here as a shooter. And Cotter, you can argue all day long about all these great players, but it would be hard to tell me a better player offensively than Austin Stotts in this tournament. He's the leading goal scorer for a reason. He's so physically gifted and skilled.
Looking at the numbers from the first half, face-offs, as Lars said, coming off too. The Haudenosaunee, if you can just get a couple of them in there, it's going to be a big deal for them. That's what they're doing right now. 6-3 our score. Second half with an HQ and Cart coming your way after this.
The 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship is sponsored by Rady Children's Hospital. Renee Schroff, Paul Carcaterra, Quint Kesnick with you from Snapdragon Stadium in San Diego, California. First of 2 medal games today. Haudenosaunee leading Australia 6-3 at halftime for the bronze. The U.S. will play Canada, surprise, surprise, in the gold medal game at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. The last 6 world championships have featured the U.S. and Canada in the gold. This will be 7 in a row. They've split the last 4. But first, we've got another half to play. In this one, Lyle Thompson, 3 points in the first half for the Haudenosaunee.
4 straight goals for the Haudenosaunee after trailing 3-2. And they've held Australia scoreless for nearly 14 minutes in a row, owning the ground balls and converting, shooting the ball really well. And this is a monumental opportunity with the extra man.
Haudenosaunee will begin the quarter with the extra man, and that one denied by Sean Aaron. The shot from Thomas Hogarth, who plays for Rochester of the NLL.
Australia's defense is not ready. They're not whistle ready on the extra man. They assume that the Haudenosaunee are going to rotate the ball around the outside, and they're attacking right away.
Yeah, Kark, early offense, when the Haudenosaunee is looking for it, it's been there.
Saw the Bomberry quick strike on the extra man when Pacino started that transition from the defensive end that led to a Lyle goal. I would agree with you. I think their opportunities are in the non-traditional sets.
Not traditional for this format.
Yes.
Australia went almost 14 minutes without a goal to close that first half. Attacking from up top is Foose. He's got speed. He's the fastest player for the Sharks. Now Houston, defended by Lyle Thompson. Houston spins it back to Foose. Matt Wood from Perth on the west coast of Australia. Baker picked up by Oakley Thomas. Baker loses Thomas. Had the short stick. Australia spinning it. That shot saved by Warren Hill. Read it all the way off the stick from Gibson.
Really good by Hill, the way he fights off that velocity.
Austin Stotts, his brother Randy, part of the attack for the Haudenosaunee.
Good patience by Hill there. There's no guessing at all. He trusted his hand speed.
Jackson dumps it to Zach Miller. Miller feeds the wing. They were looking for Lyle Thompson. Instead, it's Bomberry. Now Austin Stotts from the wing. There's Ashby Dennis. Now the double.
Quick double.
Stotts, again, never loses possession on those doubles. Dangerous feed inside to Jackson. Shot saved by Aaron, and a flag down as Jackson was launched into the crease.
Did you see that pass by Austin Stotts? Was unbelievable. Defensive pressure. He does it from a low release point here. You see him getting whacked away. 83 in white with that lever pass. That is a beautiful pass to Kyle Jackson.
It's like he's playing with a different set of rules. You know, like he's not playing under the standard rules of engagement.
Or the standard rules of physics sometimes.
Heads up.
That was Eli McLaughlin, 3 in white, letting that one go.
Security guard had that totally taken care of. I mean, nonchalantly just moved that knee when the ball was flying by him.
Head on a swivel.
Look at him. Look at him. He's looking around like everybody see that?
Yeah, 2 for a buck.
Bomberry almost lost it. Now Stotts back to Bomberry. Probing from the outside. There's the behind-the-back pass from Randy Stotts. Now Austin Stotts.
You know what's
veers wide.
What's interesting about this extra man unit, look how tight they are. A lot of teams like to spread, right, and to have longer passes. The Haudenosaunee are so tight right here, compacted.
Austin Stotts again. Goal number 30 of this 2023 Men's World Championship.
When you're tight and you're on the extra man, everyone is shot ready. And Austin Stotts gets this ball, I don't know, 6-7 yards above the crease area, and right away, bam, he just hammers it past Sean Aaron.
You can't foul. You just can't foul this group. Lyle drags this man out of the formation. So at the end of the day, there's like 3 Australian defenders in front of the goal and 4 Haudenosaunee offensive players. And You want to give Stotts looks from 6, 7, and 8 yards? Good luck.
We're watching him completely dominate. And what he did against the top competition, against Canada, against the U.S., unless there's a player today in the gold medal game that just completely goes off and dominates and is the reason for Canada or the U.S. winning, I'd be hard-pressed to give MVP to someone else than Austin Stotts. I mean, do you guys agree with me there?
I do. I do.
I think Stotts is right at the top of that conversation. You look at a Graham Hossick for Canada, certainly deserving for the defender. Michael Sowers has had big games.
What percentage of Haudenosaunee goals has he scored?
He's got 30.
Well, going into
there's
today,
probably teams.
He's got
that have
30
come
of
to
their
San
80.
Diego
He's
without
got 30 of their 80 goals.
this will put it in perspective. Coming into today, he led all goal scorers for the Haudenosaunee with 27. Lyle Thompson was next with 10 goals. Almost triple the amount that Lyle Thompson had.
As a team, they've now scored 79 goals.
And he has 30 of them.
He has 30 of them.
Australia led 3-2. They've watched the Haudenosaunee score 5 straight. And they've had trouble turning possessions into quality shots, especially since that opening quarter. 22 in green, Connor McDonough. Played last season at Towson, now in the transfer portal, looking for a new home. There's Lockie Walker. Over to Isaac Cahill. Comes back up top to Walker. Goes to work on the short stick. That was a fadeaway shot. Didn't have that much on it. Isaac Cahill, and Warren Hill has it. And again, another possession where Australia just not getting a great shot.
What's interesting is you look at Tim Graham at the face-off X. You have some hope for a comeback, but like you said, these possessions aren't leading to goals. From the second quarter on, the Haudenosaunee defense has locked down, and the face-offs really are becoming a little bit irrelevant, and that's crazy to say in this format.
Australia's best offense early in this tournament that's lasted more than 10 days is their inside offense. Jamming the ball inside for some quick sticks on the crease. Haudenosaunee have done a nice job internally and then matching up on the perimeter.
The World Championships will culminate with closing ceremonies and the gold medal game between the U.S. and Canada later today on ESPN2. Lyle Thompson looking to shake his defender. Snakes around the crease. Aaron eats up the shot. And, Kark, so much of the conversation in the sport of lacrosse, especially with this event, a global event, has been what will it mean for 2028 when lacrosse is on the short list of sports that'll be considered for inclusion in the Olympic Games.
It will be an amazing moment for the sport, and so many people behind the scenes have really pushed for this opportunity.
As we get a flag. And we will take a break. We'll finish that thought when we get back. Los Angeles up the road, 2028, the Olympic Games coming. Will this sport be a part of it? The next stop on the F1 circuit is the Rolex Austrian Grand Prix. It's tomorrow morning at the famed Red Bull Ring in Spielberg. And that is Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern. To finish the conversation before we went to break, so much attention right now focused on Los Angeles 2028 Olympic Games and the possibility of lacrosse being included. Quint, let's start with, if lacrosse gets the nod and can be a part of those Olympic Games, what does it do to the teams around the world globally in terms of funding and support?
It's massive. That Olympic decision is expected in the fall. Okay, lacrosse is looking to be a host city sport in LA. But sanctioning would be a game changer for these international lacrosse, because these foreign countries now could go to their governing bodies to receive increased funding from government-supportive Olympic sports. So Olympic inclusion is global validation of lacrosse, where a place like Uganda, a place like Peru, can go to their national governing body and say, hey, we can compete in lacrosse in the Olympics in the sport. We deserve money.
Australia gets the man-up tally. It's Braden Panting, his 8th of these World Championships.
Panting lets this one fly with a nice right-handed rip. This is good ball movement. This is some of the better ball movement. The skip pass allows him to plant his feet. But the bottom line is, with all of this, guys, players like Panting from Australia, and there's 86 nations playing the game. There's so many sacrifices for these players financially in terms of their jobs. I mean, speaking to Glenn Meredith before the game, there's carpenters on this team, electricians, plumbers, child care workers, firefighters. They are spending their own money to get to places like San Diego for the World Championships. And Quint, you mentioned it's so critical for the funding aspect to give these players an opportunity.
Now, Glenn Meredith told me the other day, for these Australian players, you're paying your own way to get here. The average cost is somewhere between $10,000 and $12,000.
Exactly. That's my point. And with the 86 nations that are playing the sport of lacrosse, you look at the way that the game is formatted. The PLL has shown the sixes model is entertaining and fun to watch. It's also easier to be an accessible sport to nations to have smaller rosters.
It's cost effective for the Olympics. Obviously, you're only going to bring a roster of 12 as opposed to 23. Field space, shorter. Game, shorter. Action, greater. Sixes is unbelievable in terms of action. I mean, it's lacrosse on Red Bull. It's unbelievable.
Here comes Panting again. And the last part of it is, what does it mean for the Haudenosaunee? Wood stings the top shelf, beating Warren Hill to make it 7-5. It's a delicate conversation. We don't know whether the Haudenosaunee will have inclusion as a sovereign nation for the Olympic Games, but that will be a hot topic that gets talked about if the sport is included for the games in Los Angeles in 2028. It's something that there's going to have to be some sort of resolution, because the reality is we are seeing with the Haudenosaunee some of the best players in the world.
Australia, one thing you can say about this team, they don't tire. They are in amazing physical condition. They get great crowd support too, and there's a sense of pride. I asked them, the culture of this team. They said it's a mateship. It's a mateship. They love the game. They love each other. And even in their losses this week in East, when we watched them, these guys go the full 60.
Now there's a toughness to this Australian team. We get a whistle. Confusion out on the field. Now the officials want to talk.
They think Australia's offsides because they looked back and only saw 2 attackmen, but the substitution pattern was going on behind the referee's back. This should not be an offsides call. If they had more than 7 in the defensive zone, that would be an issue. But they got 6 in the defender and a goalie.
2:40 to go, third quarter, bronze medal game. Here comes Zach Miller. Over to Kyle Jackson, who's got 2 points today, a goal and a help. Now Miller on the wing dodge. Gets to the middle, shoots with the left hand, too high. The backup to Randy Stotts.
Miller's an interesting player. I thought earlier in the tournament he made his presence felt. Then down the stretch, the last few games, not as much of a piece of the offense that I thought he would be moving forward.
A two-time All-American and a national champion for Bill Tierney at Denver. Here comes Lyle Thompson. Jackson over to Stotts, the trail check. Loose ball near the crease. Stotts snatched it out of the air. We get an interference call against the Haudenosaunee Australia ball.
Seen Stotts pick that rebound out of the air car?
Yeah. The ball movement was tremendous from Lyle Thompson to Kyle Jackson, who bobbled it at first, but then made a awesome pass to Stotts.
The closeout by Lachlan Russell, Lockie Russell, lefty, chippy defender, getting to the hands of the shooter right at the last second.
This is an interesting time in the game, too. It's 7-5.
Haudenosaunee, one of their last 7. They've kind of lost their momentum on offense. Possessions now more even, right?
And then you have Tim Graham, too, who has the potential to give Australia a run. If they're moving the ball like they have the prior 2 possessions, this could be very interesting down the stretch in this third quarter.
Australia continues to probe. Final 45 seconds, quarter number 3.
Zone defense.
Yep. Thomas Graham over to Walker. Baker fakes the pass, now dumps it back. Cahill up top, Walker. Graham feeding back to Walker. Over to Baker on the wing. 20 seconds to go. When does Australia go?
Someone's got to press the seam and draw 2.
Quinn, I'm watching this. I would go back to their base man offense where there's all these patterns. I think they're in a zone offense, and it's almost like lending to the effectiveness of the Haudenosaunee.
5 seconds, they got to go. Baker looks at the clock. Over to Walker, who shoots wide. It was almost like they forgot how much time was left. They knew it was late in the quarter, and then you saw Baker look up at the scoreboard. Oh, no, we only have 5 seconds.
I would go back to their base man offense, which has a lot of patterns and movement. A little stagnant that last possession, but the Aussies were rolling in that third quarter, panting in wood, hitting the back of the net.
The U.S. and Canada will meet for the gold later today in Netanya 2018. Controversial finish. Tom Schreider from Rob Pennell for the game winner. A little bit of a clock malfunction. The clock was not kept correctly on the field. It didn't align with what you saw on the ESPN ticker. And so Canada was still chirping about it, Quint, before their first game of this tournament against the United States. They will get a chance to play again. These are the two best teams in the world. They hold province over international lacrosse. We expect a thriller.
Seems like a pretty even game on paper. You think about some of the legends that we're going to see. Guys like, for Canada, Josh Byrne, Dane Smith, and Jeff Teat. USA team been led by guys like the great midi Tommy Schreiber. I think the X factor, Michael Sowers. I really do. I just don't think anyone on Canada is built to cover.
Nobody in the world's built to cover those feet. Put him on the goal line extended, put him behind. You know, you talk about those legends. How about Brody Merrill playing in his 5th World Championships? Rob Pennell in his 3rd. Now he's the all-time leading scorer in international play for Team USA.
Never played smarter. Rob is playing such a smart brand of lacrosse. It's really impressive. Face-offs maybe favor the U.S., but in East we were talking about that. It's Trevor Baptiste and T.D. Erlin, 80+%?
But Jake Withers is known as the ultimate counter. It's almost as if you have Sampras and Agassi. You've got Baptiste, who can win it with a clean exit. He can ace you. Withers can turn it into a scramble.
Don't look at the stats with Withers. He turns it into a scramble. He also hunts the opposition after he loses. And he probably has the best wing player in the world in Zach Curry.
That's what we said.
I don't know if it's a probably. I think he does.
If he can tie the Americans up for 2 to 3 seconds, Courier comes to the table. It changes all the math. The goaltending battle, again, Dylan Ward. Is there a better big game goalie in the sport than Dylan Ward of Canada? Blaze Reardon, the hot guy, the now goalie on the planet for Team USA.
7-5, Haudenosaunee leading Australia for the bronze. Sunday Night Baseball tomorrow. Giants and Mets, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Today, the 1st of July, happens to be an important, I guess you could say infamous day if you're a Met fan. It is Bobby Bonilla Day. Bobby Bonilla collects.
Best deal ever in sports.
On July 1st, if you don't know the story, many years ago, Bonilla had about $6 million left on his contract. Instead of taking the money in a lump sum when he was released, he agreed to a deferred payment schedule. So 10 years after he was released, the deferred payments with interest started, and he collects $1 million and change every year. And I think he's got another 10, 12 years left.
It's unbelievable.
Until he stops collecting. And it's July 1st every year. So happy Bobby Bonilla Day for those who celebrate.
I mean, if you're Bobby Bonilla, right, you just go on your whatever your bank's app is, right? You see that wire hit on July 1st every year. I mean, you're just smiling, laughing.
His agent deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Scoreless streak now for the Haudenosaunee, correct?
Yeah, the Haudenosaunee had a 7-3 lead.
One for Australia, the last 8 shooting.
Scored 2 to close that 3rd quarter, and now a minute into the 4th. It's 7-5. Haudenosaunee with the ball. Miller cyclones away from his defender, feeds Jackson. He's chased back by Chris Moffitt. Lyle calling for it, gets it, and he's got a short stick matchup in Quinteo. Lyle will isolate him. They clear out for Lyle.
Press record on the VCR, as we used to say.
Lyle baiting Quinteo. Stops, changing direction. Now help coming. Lyle feeding Austin Stotts. Whistled high.
Moving pick prior to that shot. It was kind of like a pulling guard, giving Stotts a pocket of space. Left side of your screen, watch it right there. He grabs him, he holds him.
It's the right call.
Very much like basketball. And Dr. Naismith, a Canadian, drafted the rules of basketball and incorporated many of the fundamentals of lacrosse rules.
Well, you know what the national sport of Canada is, right?
Lacrosse.
It's not basketball.
It's not hockey.
It is Lacrosse. Here is Quinteo. Down the alley toward the cage. Well-timed slide. Jerry Stotts jarred it loose. It is picked up by Cahill. Australia still with a chance here to pull within one. Nice crease feed. Now it's knocked away.
Big play right here.
This is a big ground ball. Jackson comes up with it. Jackson,
He's been Mr. Everything.
has done it all in this tournament. We get a flag down. Do we have an offsides call?
We shouldn't.
Flag behind the play, so it's against Australia. Feet in front, Lyle Thompson, the fake, the shot, the score. A hat trick for Lyle, a 4-point game for Lyle, and it's 8-5.
You want to know something crazy? When you watch Lyle Thompson, he will throw a behind-the-back pass every once in a while. He rarely shoots behind the back to score. And in this moment, I'm thinking maybe he's going to go behind the back, but watch what he does with the head of his stick at the last second, Quint.
Gets a reaction out of the goaltender. By pumping this one high, he straightens the goaltender, Sean Aaron, up and stops his lateral movement. You know, if a goalie's feet are planted, he can't go side to side. And so when he pumps it, Sean Aaron straightens up the left he does, and it freezes him, and then he shoots around him.
A 3-goal cushion now. Again, no shot clock. Impetus on Australia to play faster.
One thing Australia has not shown in this tournament is any kind of pick and roll game, any kind of two-man games.
I would expect a lot of that of the Canadians in this gold medal because they didn't show a lot. Remember, you asked Dane Smith, right? Whether they held back. He said, oh, nothing. Playing the best players in the world.
Nobody's buying that.
Yeah, right.
Dane. Righty two-man games.
What do you expect him to say?
Josh Byrne.
Of course, I agree with him.
Jeff T.
Here's the two-man game. Let me diagram it for you. Here comes Houston.
The USA better have some wrinkles on offense.
I think we expect both teams to have a few wrinkles. Ooh, wow, that went off the crossbar from Foose.
Heads up, Cotter.
Hammer time.
Cotter gave us a thumbs up. He's okay.
He's getting beaten by the sun.
No hat, no shades. Cahill. Checked by Blake Gibson McDonald, a member of Six Nations. Now it comes to the far side wing. Houston. Turned back. His pass low. Foose couldn't handle it. Turnover. And with 9:20 to go, the Haudenosaunee get it back.
This was an opportunity. There's a shot off the post.
These new goals create music, right? These pipes, there's a thin little rod inside the goal that's attached to the netting. That's just the acoustics now in the last 2-3 years.
You know what the old acoustics
I like
used to
it.
be?
It's part of the
I love it
soundtrack
too.
of
I love
lacrosse
it.
now.
First time I ever called a game, it was Syracuse. I forgot who they were playing. This is like 2 years ago. And I remember saying, like, they're pinging every corner because that sound I wasn't accustomed to. Someone hit me on Twitter in a DM like, there's a new type of goal. I'm like, okay, still good.
I think we should have.
It's like Lloyd Brown.
I think we should have. I think we should have flames.
Sail or no sail.
I think we should have pyrotechnics go off.
Oh, how about that? Beautiful Randy Stotts to Thomas Hogarth. You don't need pyrotechnics. You can set that to music.
We talk about the impact of the behind-the-back shooting so often, but one thing we've seen in the last 10 days is the ability to pull out the behind-the-back pass when effective.
He's one of the best at it. If you watch him in his college days at OCC or Syracuse, this is Randy Stotts, part of his DNA. The behind-the-back is twofold there. One, it's to counter the pressure on the top side. The other that kind of took it to another level is the timing of the cutter and how he's able to just put it right on his teammate's stick. Randy Stotts and the Haudenosaunee rolling.
This guy.
Brady Children's Hospital is the presenting sponsor of the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. It's the largest children's hospital on the West Coast and ranked among the 10 best children's hospital in the nation. We had a nice time last night in San Diego's Little Italy. Actually got a nice Mexican meal a few blocks away, then made our way into Little Italy. We all got some gelato. Canadian fans getting ready for the gold medal game coming up at 7 Eastern tonight on ESPN2.
Beaches here are unbelievable, all different types. Food off the charts. The weather gets kind of mundane and boring, does it?
Yeah.
Doesn't it? It's
Are
like
you
Just sick of
complaining?
72
Stop.
and sunny.
You're stop. You're done.
every
You're
day.
done.
The marine layer.
72 and sunny.
Is he complaining?
The marine
Of
layer
course.
burns off at like exactly the same time every day.
Can we
9:30,
duct tape
10
him to the
o'clock.
wall between games?
Unbelievable place here. Next World Championships still TBD in terms of location. I'm hearing rumors of Hong Kong, China, or Japan. 2026 that would be. We're in 23 because of COVID bumped it a year.
Oh, so they won't bump it another 4?
I don't
like
think
the
so.
Normal
But-
4?
Not with 2028 looming, potentially beyond that.
Japan, again, you know, we talked earlier about Olympic inclusion. Japan, imagine if they could get federal funding for the sport on the youth level, given how well they've done. Without that so far, as Lachy Walker gets goal number 6 for Australia.
Talk about the pipes and hitting shots with precision. Lachy Walker here down the alley through some pressure. This is a nice hard dodge. He's got Zed Williams just beat with speed, and then the stick doesn't disrupt the shot. And on the lefty, Warren Hill, that's perfect placement, Q.
1 in a million shot right there. On the run, losing your angle every step.
Mira and Tim Graham at the face-off X.
Door stays open for the Sharks here, doesn't it?
Tim Graham, remember, Kark, when we saw him in Netanya in 2018 as an 18-year-old, and we walked away going, whoa, yeah, this guy's got a chance to be something. Went to Cornell, you know, didn't really have the type of college career that maybe we anticipated.
They changed the rules
They
on
did.
Manish.
Yeah.
They did.
Changed
And that's,
the
you're right,
rules.
that's a big part of it.
Yeah, he's a one-knee guy.
He's a knee-down motorcycle grip, and they got rid of that. So, you know, he didn't get the PT. He was 52% in Netanya.
Well,
As an
he's-
18-year-old.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
but let me tell you about Tim. I talked to him the other day. His mom, Ann, should be really proud. He's got a degree in mechanical engineering. He's going to move to Manhattan, and he's got a big-time job in New York City.
Good for him.
Like, so this
Mission accomplished. Use the
and-
sport as a vehicle.
he was on a winning program, a great
Yep.
program that played in a national championship game. He was thrilled to being able to
Yeah.
stay in the States. He gets 3 years on a visa.
He's got a locker room for life with the Cornell Big Red,
Yes,
which, you know,
yes.
that is a program that
Yes.
runs deep in terms of their culture. And he's won 14 faceoffs today, 14 to the Haudenosaunee 4. But that was a massive drought before that game, that goal, over 13 minutes.
He's been terrific in international play.
He said, you know, he's a knee-down motorcycle grip. That's what he does. That's what he became great at. I mean, we sang his praises pretty good in Netanya, and it was hard to believe that an 18-year-old could stand toe-to-toe with some of those gorillas.
Just
he did.
imagine.
Just imagine.
We got another game, Q. You worried about him?
Just don't, that worries me. When I see caffeine next to this guy, you go off the rails a little bit.
Now we're all good. I'm worried about you, Kark. You actually got some sleep last night.
9.5 hours. 9.5 hours. That's called banking sleep. That never happens.
Sleep's a commodity.
Yeah, I always aim for
Sleep
7 or 8.
is a
I normally
commodity.
get 6.5.
Young athletes, let me tell you, it's a commodity. My daughter doesn't quite get that yet.
Here comes Lyle. Bouncer. Deflected. Aaron's got it. Long outlet to McDonough. McDonough puts it on goal. Hill covers it up. 4 minutes to go. A 3-goal lead for the Haudenosaunee, seeking a third straight bronze medal at the World Championships.
And that's why that save was so critical.
There's Ron John to Hogarth. Slam dunk.
He looked him off.
Yep, that was the save of the game.
Save of the game. You think about 9-6, 4 minutes to go. You think that the Haudenosaunee are going to stall, but they push it. They read what's there, and this deception here is with the eyes and the head, and the defense buys it.
You got the save by Warren Hill. Could Australia have another run in them? Warren Hill says, not on my dime. Eventually it gets up from Pacino to Ron John, who's an offensive midfielder, so he's only thinking one thing: attack the cage. And then the finish by Thomas Hogarth. Yeah, there's the look away. That is a beautiful, beautiful goal. Is that Oakley Thomas who actually finished it? Playing with a shorty, 84 in white.
He flipped his number. It is Hogarth, 27-year-old.
Gold medal game, 7 Eastern, ESPN2, U.S. and Canada. You look at the history. It runs deep. They've met in every gold medal game since the 1998 World Games. And look at the last 4, Canada in 06 and 2014, the U.S. in 2010 and in 2018. Most of these games have been close. The 2 games they played in Netanya Quint as physical and compelling and competitive as you'll see in the sport. The first game they played in this tournament didn't quite have that, didn't really have a pulse, seemed more like a couple of punchers throwing jabs, comfortable with it being a decision.
A sparring session where you're not going to show your best punches. The USA's defense, to me, is what gives this team a chance to win the gold medal. That and the face-off disparity they've created. They're winning more than 80% of the face-offs. They're only giving up 3.5 goals per game, and their defense in the second half of games, USA defense in the last 30 minutes of games, has been unbelievable. Historical levels.
Yeah, Canada's defense has been legit too, only allowing 5 goals per game. But I think there's going to be a much higher scoring game than people think.
You do? You think it will be?
I'm not talking 98, 15, 14.
Double digits?
I think the winner's going to get 9.
Quinteo shot saved by Hill.
9 or 10. You look at those epic battles, though. Remember the scene in '98?
Yeah.
Baltimore, Maryland, sold out Johns
Hopkins. I called that game.
Yeah, that game.
That game led to Major League Lacrosse. Jake Steinfeld was in the crowd that day. Watched that game. U.S. was leading 10-2. Canada makes this epic comeback. Like 3 hours later, the game's over. It's, what, 17-16 or whatever in triple overtime. An incredible game. Canada's got a history, as you see the double team.
Now they're pressing out here.
Of improving as the tournament goes along.
And we're talking so much about this guy. I mean, he'll take
just
care of this
right
clock.
Through a goalie and a long pole. Nonchalant, takes it back.
Super glue in his pocket.
Almost a triple team there. Finally dislodged. Stall warning against the Haudenosaunee. That means they've got to keep it in the box, and that's one of the rare times somebody knocked it away from Stotts. And
wanted a hold there.
He got a loose ball hold.
It will stay with the Haudenosaunee,
yeah.
knocked out by Australia. One official signaled it was going the other way incorrectly.
We're talking so much about Austin Stotts, as we should, who I think could be the MVP of this tournament. Randy has been great today. 4 assists today. I think his play's been sensational.
His passing all tournament. You know, does Austin Stotts have a future as a pro lacrosse field player?
Jackson tripped. There's a second flag, and the Haudenosaunee will have a 6-on-4.
These games can spiral out of control when you're chasing around and pulling your goaltender. What's a 2 or 3 goal margin suddenly becomes 5 or 6.
Well, Clark, this World Championship for the Haudenosaunee different, where I think the last few times around they came in as a clear number 3. Yeah, that hurts.
Nice pick.
In pool play, they went wire to wire with the U.S. They had a chance to tie the game with the ball in the final seconds in pool play against Team Canada. Ran out of gas in the semifinal against Canada.
And they did all of this. The 2-goal loss to the U.S., the 1-goal loss to Canada without winning faceoffs. But the defensive improvement, I think, from past World Championships, that was the biggest impact I think Lars Tiffany had.
And a schedule that was not favorable, quite honestly. They played 7 straight games in 7 days. That many times they played a team coming off a bye, coming off a day off.
Yeah, the improved defense was
look, it's never going to be fully equitable, but they had some tough breaks in terms of the schedule.
Think of their jump defensively, and I think of Japan's jump to number 5. That's massive, I think.
Yeah, and to me, Israel and Jamaica, big stories. Israel at 7, Jamaica at 8. England drops out of the A group. England needs to reevaluate their national program. They need to bring in Ted Lasso.
Zach Miller cans it. Be curious, not judgmental, Quint.
You should watch more TV because you rarely watch TV, and Ted Lasso had a major impact on you. You should dive into some more series. Don't you agree?
I'm working on the books there. Working on the books there, Kark.
I think Quint can take a page out of Ted Lasso.
You're stretching, you're pressing out. These guys make it look easy with the ball movement.
It's assist number 5 for Randy.
How do you pass that up, right?
Yeah. I mean,
5 assists for Andy Stotts.
Yeah. Austin Stotts with 3 goals, giving him 30 in this tournament.
Have we given Lars Tiffany, Scott Marr, and the rest of this coaching staff enough credit for the Haudenosaunee?
They've showed well.
yeah, they've done tremendous work.
The Haudenosaunee will run out these final 30-plus seconds. A 3rd straight bronze medal coming to the Haudenosaunee. Austin Stotts, 30 goals in the tournament. Lyle Thompson, a hat trick today. Randy Stotts, assist after assist in this bronze medal game. He's got 17 helpers in this tournament. And for the Australians, a 3rd straight 4th place finish. They finished 4th or better in every World Championship. But the bronze belongs to the Haudenosaunee for the 3rd straight World Championships. Austin Stotts, Randy Stotts leading the way, and Lyle Thompson still one of the best players on the planet.
That was impressive. I got so much respect for this Haudenosaunee group. They're always the home team. Every World Championship, because of their ties, the indigenous roots of this game. It's their game. They share it with us. And everyone benefits when they play the way they did this week.
Beautifully said, and what's impressed me so much is because of the tight games they had with Canada and the U.S., you wondered how much gas was left in the tank. But the Haudenosaunee showed tremendous energy, a will to win, and the style and the creativity of Lyle Thompson and Randy and Austin Stotts. It's been nothing but a pleasure to watch the way that they play the game of lacrosse.
We'll wrap up the bronze medal game and get you ready for the gold medal tilt when we come back.
1, 2, 3. Cotter Mike. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Haudenosaunee claim the bronze medal at the 2023 World Lacrosse Men's Championship. 11-6, the final over Australia in the bronze medal game. And we go down to the field, and Chris Cotter.
All right, thanks, Anish, here with Lyle Thompson. Hat trick today, but really it was more about the team effort. Hard-fought win, though, from start to finish.
Yeah, I mean, we knew we had to come to play. You know, we continue to grow every time we come to these World Games, and you know, Australia continues to get better. So, you know, we continue to try to climb the ranks here, and we know that every opponent we face is trying to do the same thing.
The way you guys played against Team USA and Team Canada in the pool games, I'm sure you had a feeling like you could win the gold medal. How tough was it to come back from the disappointment in the semifinals to be able to play and get this W today?
No, it's important. I mean, I think, you know, whenever you throw this jersey on, you're representing, so we can't just go home empty-handed. We knew we had to show up today and play a good Australia team.
How important is it for you, when you talk about the Haudenosaunee jersey, to be able to play the Creators game during this 12-day stretch here when you're on the world stage?
It's been fun. It's fun every time. You know, I've been a part of this team since I was 15 years old, playing in 2 U19 championships, going to Israel, going to Denver, coming here. So it's been quite the journey, and you know, we know that what we're doing this for is playing the game for the entertainment, for the creator, but also for our people back home. You know, continue to set a standard for so many young lacrosse players, both men and women. And you know, we want to be the best in the world, and we're continuing to strive for that.
Lyle, thanks for your time. Go celebrate with your teammates.
Thank you.
All right, Anish, back upstairs.
Chris, thank you. U.S., Canada later tonight. Quint, one final thought in the Haudenosaunee. I think for us, there is a certain magic that we feel when they play the Creators game. We felt that, you know, throughout these 2 weeks in San Diego.
Any day that you get to watch Lyle Thompson, Jeremy Thompson, guys like Zed Williams, Randy, and Austin Stotts play the sport of lacrosse is a good day.
U.S. and Canada, gold medal game, the championship game. It comes your way at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. That's about an hour from now. The 2 best teams in the world go head-to-head. Rob Pinnell, the United States, Graham Hossack, Jeff Teat, Team Canada. You'll see all the stars, and you'll see the stars and the stripes in about an hour over on ESPN2. The Haudenosaunee win the bronze.